Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. In today's video I will be answering the question whether the F1 arcade in London is actually worth the visit as a racing fan or if it's better to just watch the action from home. Into be breaking down everything from the experience on the simulators to the atmosphere of the whole day trip and whether it's worth your money or not. Let's get straight into it, and as always subscribe to be collected for the next race weekend, the Dutch Grand Prix. So the first thing I'll cover is the aesthetic of the bar in general. I think it's a great place if you want to get some pictures. Obviously you have the simulators so you can get some cool pictures on those, as well as obviously using them for practicing your racing skills. And there's just like a lot of little things around there which just adds to the whole aesthetic of the place. Like there were F1 tracks on the ceiling, and there was a wall with like quotes. The most iconic quotes from different F1 drivers. So I think the whole place obviously matches the aesthetic of an F1 fan, and I think it's a very cool place to, like, it's not boring at all, and it's a very cool place to go and see at least. I think it's worth to just go and see. Would I say that it's worth it actually for an F1 fan to go and watch a race instead of just watching it at home and saving your money? And for this I would say yes, just because there's such a good atmosphere during the race. Obviously depends who you watch F1 with at home, but some people like watch F1 alone because their family don't watch it with them, and this is a great opportunity to connect with people who maybe support the same team as you, or obviously everyone in there loves F1, so just connecting with more people that watch F1, it's a great opportunity to do that. And also if it happens to be a crazy race, you get to react to everything with everyone around you. Like people would be like cheering when certain drivers made overtakes or when the leader of a race changed. And I went to watch Hungarian Grand Prix, and so when Oscar DNF'd, that got a big crowd. So I would say that it's definitely worth your money for the atmosphere of the whole entire day and everyone like watching the race with you. It's really fun. And I definitely think it would be amazing if it was a last race title decider. Like I could imagine watching 2021 Abu Dhabi in a place like that with so many people. I know it's like a lot more screens to watch it, and also the experience of the simulators as well. Talking about the simulators, I think this is one of the best parts of the F1 bar in general. So depending on when the simulators are open for use an hour before the race starts and during the race duration. So it's open for about 3 hours for use, and it just cycles through racing throughout those whole 3 hours. People are usually pretty good at letting others take turns, and obviously it's very busy during the hour before the race, but during the race a lot of people sit down to watch the race like I did, but there were still some people on the simulators. So if maybe you want to, like if you go during Monaco and there's nothing much going on track, you could just jump in a simulator, and then you still get to hear the reaction. So if there's like a crazy reaction from the crowd in the F1 bar, you can then go and see what was happening on the TV, or you can just turn around. There's TVs basically everywhere, so you should be able to see the race in action pretty easily if you wanted to whilst on the simulator. The simulator is also very accessible for people of different skill levels. It makes you pick your skill level, so that was my only second time on an F1 simulator, so I picked rookie, and I'm not actually sure what the different skill levels change because obviously I only tried rookie, but I know that when I picked rookie I had racing lines, and if I didn't do the gears up and down quickly enough it would do it for me, whereas I assume that the further up you go the less help you get from the simulator. But also it was very realistic with the movements. The whole seat would move depending on your movements in the race. Like it wasn't just random movements that didn't align. Like if I crashed, my seat would feel like I've crashed. And also when you do crash, you can just re-enter the race. So it's not that bad. I didn't go into the pit lane at any point because the races are I actually don't remember how long they were, but they're obviously not a full race duration. I did see a few people go into the pit lane. I'm not sure if that's because when you're on a higher level you do pit stops, or whether they just wanted to see what the pit lane looked like. But there is a pit lane, but I didn't go in, so I can't say anything about that. On the simulators, there's a lot of different simulators in the F1 bar, so you should get a chance to use it at some point. Obviously, it's nice for people to take turns, but there are so many in there, you should be able to have a turn, but even before the racing action starts. But if you didn't get a turn, you can obviously, when there's a quiet moment in the race, hop on a sim instead. But there's like different rows of simulators, and you compete against the people in your row. So if you went as a family and you all sat in the same row, then you could race against each other, which I think is a really fun addition to it. Is it worth it money wise with all of the different packages? I'm not too well versed on all the different package options. We got pit wall, which basically meant we had reserved seating on this little like elevated area, which they called the pit wall, and we had screens in front of us which shared a bunch of stats during the race, like what tyres everyone was on, how long they've been on those tyres, what lap times they're putting in, where everyone is on the track, like everybody's fastest lap and stuff like that, which was interesting. But with the price difference from general admission, I wouldn't say it was worth it. And it depends how interested you are in those stats, and it also depends what race you're going to see, because the Hungarian Grand Prix is a good Grand Prix, but it's also not like the last race of the season, or like the British Grand Prix, or ones that would be like super high in demand. There were a lot of seats available, so if you got general admission and you didn't have reserved seating, it wouldn't be an issue. You would still be able to find a place. Also, depending on how early you got there, it would be very easy to find a good seat to watch the race in, because you can always just get someone to hold your table while people go and try the different mini games and stuff they had around. So I'd say, depending on what race you're going to see and how interested you are in the stats, I wouldn't say it's particularly worth it to get the pit wall, because I feel like most people just go there for the atmosphere and to just watch the race with other F1 fans anyway, and you can easily do that with general admission, and they also have the same amount of access to the simulators as people with pit wall do. So I would say general admission is good enough. I didn't try any of the food there, so I can't comment on prices of food or drinks. I think with a pit wall you get a free drink, I believe. But I think if you go in for alcohol for your free drinks, I think it has to be champagne or prosecco, one of those. So maybe not as much variety as people would hope for. Final and overall question is, would I go back, and is it worth it? And I would say yes, it's definitely worth it, and I would definitely go back. I think it's just a great place to, if you think it's going to be an interesting race, to get the atmosphere of other people's reactions. Obviously you get a chance from the simulators, like unless you have a simulator at home, that's usually quite a rare thing for a lot of people, and they're really fun to try. So I would say it's worth it just for the simulators alone. And also there are other mini games that you can try before the racing action starts, or even during if you wanted to. There's two reaction time games, one where you have to press a button as soon as the lights go out, and one where you have to press the buttons as they light up and see how many you can do, I think in a minute, if I'm correct. So yeah, there's a lot of things for you to do and to keep you entertained before the race, and then obviously during the race you get the amazing atmosphere of watching with other F1 fans, and it's just nice to, a lot of people wore what team they support or what driver they support, so it's always nice to get dressed up and go somewhere to watch F1, to make a day out of it instead of just sitting at home and turning the TV on when it's race time. but I would say it is definitely worth it and definitely worth the money. But I would say you might as well just go for general admission, because that gets you enough of an experience. So unless it's like a birthday present or anything, I don't think there's any reason to go above that. If you guys were wondering whether or not to go, I would say definitely to go. So that is the end of this video. And if you wanted to see the vlog of the day I actually went to the F1 arcade in London, watch this video right here. Thank you. See you around.